This wasn't just a fighting movie. It was full of accidents, casting surprises, last-minute rewrites, and pure chaos that somehow turned into magic. The film that defined 90s action and introduced game lovers to the big screen was made under wild circumstances. So let's step into the arena and uncover 15 true, unbelievable, and downright bizarre facts about Mortal Kombat.
In each of us, there burns the fury of a warrior.
Sean Connery was offered the role of Raiden. Yes, the legendary James Bond himself. The producers wanted him for his power and presence, but Connery turned it down because he didn't want to deal with the physical training. He reportedly said he'd rather be on a golf course than on a movie set. Can you imagine Raiden delivering thunderous lines in a thick Scottish accent? It would have been hilarious and amazing at the same time. But if you thought that was strange, wait till you hear which legendary director almost showed up on set. Steven Spielberg almost made a cameo.
I mean, I wanted to go out and see the Blob when I was a teenage werewolf, and they said, no, Davy Crockett and Fantasia and Bambi, that's it.
He was a huge fan of the games and was supposed to play the director yelling action in Johnny Cage's opening scene. But scheduling problems got in the way, and the team brought in a look-alike instead. The resemblance was so close that some fans still think Spielberg secretly showed up. Either way, that cameo became a little mystery of its own. Wild, right? Yet that wasn't even the biggest casting twist, because one of Hollywood's rising stars was meant to throw those punches. After The Mask made Cameron Diaz a star, she was cast as Sonya Blade. She began training and was ready to step into the role, but just weeks before the shooting, she broke her wrist. That injury forced her to leave the film completely. The studio had to find a replacement in a hurry, and that's when Bridget Wilson stepped in. She took over right before filming began and ended up nailing the part. Funny how one twist of fate changed movie history. Her exit opened the door for Bridget Wilson, and what she did next made even seasoned stunt teams nervous. She decided to do all her stunts by herself. No stunt double, no shortcuts. She trained hard, fought for real, and gave it everything. But during a scene, she dislocated her shoulder and still finished the scene before anyone realized. The crew wanted her to rest, but she came back the next day, ready to keep shooting. That kind of grit made her a fan favorite. She literally fought through pain to deliver those action scenes. Speaking of unexpected fighters, one background performer's life changed forever in the blink of an eye.
All right. Let's dance.
Lyndon Ashby didn't just act tough as Johnny Cage, he actually got hurt. During one of the big fight scenes, he took a hit so hard that he ended up with a bruised kidney. He said later that he was so caught up in the action that he forgot to protect himself. He pushed through the pain and finished the shoot anyway. That's real movie hero energy right there. The pain was real on set, but so were the lucky breaks, like the one that turned an unknown stuntman into a legend. Chris Casamassa was supposed to be just another stunt performer. He was hired to help with background ninja moves. But when the director saw how skilled he was, he gave him the actual role of Scorpion, turning a background job into one of the most iconic characters in action movie history. And while that surprise was brewing, fans would later demand a fight that didn't even exist during filming. During early test screenings, fans complained that the movie needed more fights, so the filmmakers decided to add one more scene. That's how the reptile fight was born. They brought everyone back to film a brand new sequence, and it completely changed the tone of the movie. The reptile scene ended up becoming one of the most memorable fights in the entire film. Talk about listening to your audience. Extra fights weren't the only challenge. The locations themselves were straight out of an endurance test. The cast and crew shot several scenes deep inside Thailand, in temples that could only be reached by boat. The humidity was unbearable, and the travel was exhausting. The crew eventually built a makeshift outhouse near the location because the nearest bathroom was too far away. They were basically living in the jungle. It wasn't easy, but it gave the movie its exotic look. The jungle shoot was brutal, but it paid off when the cameras rolled inside real sacred temples. Those massive temples you see in the movie weren't fake. They were actual ancient sites in Thailand, including Wat Chai Wattanaram and Wat Phra Si Sanphet. Shooting there gave the movie a magical atmosphere that CGI could never replace. You can almost feel the history behind every scene. Even the decor hid clues. The most iconic of them all was etched right into the scenery. That iconic dragon symbol you see everywhere in Mortal Kombat. It wasn't just on posters, it's hidden all over the movie. Carved into walls, printed on floors, even in costumes. The filmmakers used it to make the world feel connected to the game without shouting it out loud. It became a reminder of what the story was about: power, destiny, and fighting for survival. Subtle symbolic touches were everywhere, especially in the villain's chilling transformations. There's a creepy scene where Shang Tsung transforms into an eyeless skeleton during Liu Kang's nightmare.
It has begun!
Later, when he dies, his body turns into that same skeleton. It symbolized the souls he had stolen being released. That kind of detail gave the movie surprising depth. For an action film, that's a nice little touch of storytelling. Blink and you'll miss another nod. The movie's first fight secretly quoted the games themselves. In the opening fight, Liu Kang's brother doesn't land a single punch. That was deliberate. It's a clever nod to the phrase "flawless victory" from the games. The filmmakers wanted that subtle detail for the fans who paid attention. It set the tone perfectly and showed that the movie wasn't just using the name. It understood the spirit of the game. And of course, you can't talk about authenticity without mentioning the voice fans will never forget. Remember Scorpion's famous line, "Get over here"?
Get over here!
That was voiced by Ed Boon, the co-creator of the Mortal Kombat games. He wasn't even supposed to be part of the film at first, but the team asked him to record a few lines to keep it authentic. It was such a cool detail for fans who recognized his voice. They even used that line again in the sequels because people loved it so much. Still, not everything about Mortal Kombat aged gracefully. Several major characters with Asian origins were played by white actors. Raiden, Scorpion, and Sub-Zero were all portrayed by non-Asian actors, which today is seen as a big example of Hollywood whitewashing. Back then, few people talked about it, but it's something that stands out now. Still, despite that, Mortal Kombat kept its place as one of the few game movies that fans still love today. Some changes were deliberate, though, like a whole storyline that vanished in the edit room. At first, the writers wanted a romance between Liu Kang and Princess Kitana.
Wish you too.
They even filmed a few moments between them. But during editing, the director decided to cut it all out. He wanted to keep the focus on the action and the battles. Looking back, that was probably the right call. The pace stayed tight, and the movie didn't slow down. So there you have it. The fights were real, the injuries were real, and the behind-the-scenes madness was even wilder than what we saw on screen. From broken bones to surprise cameos to actors risking it all, Mortal Kombat was a movie made with chaos, courage, and pure passion. It's proof that sometimes the craziest productions make the best stories.